So here are the basic replacement steps for removing and replacing a storage device. The first thing you're going to want to do is shut down the computer system. You're going to want to open up the computer case so that you can expose the drive bays that those components are installed in. You want to identify which of the devices is the defective one. You don't want to remove the wrong component because obviously that's not going to fix your problem. And now you've actually taken out a good component and you may throw it away by accident. So make sure you do take a moment and say, okay, which component is it I'm really wanting to work on here? You're going to need to remove the power cables and the data cables from that device. I like to leave them connected to the motherboard, or at least the data cable, because there's no reason to disconnect it from the motherboard unless you need to in order to be able to get to the device itself. But that's very unlikely. Usually you can leave it connected to the motherboard. You're going to want to unmount the device from the case that it's in. Now, if it's an IDE or PATA device, verify whether or not that device has been set to a slave or a master, because you're going to want to configure the new drive that you're putting in to have the same configuration setting. Once you've set the new device to be either master or slave, you're going to want to install that new device into the computer case. You'll reconnect the data cables and the power cable to that particular component. Then you're going to need to install the computer cover and then power up the system in order to test to make sure that that new component is behaving properly. Now that we've talked about the different steps, let's go actually do them. Now we've already unplugged the computer and we've removed the case from the side. And what we're going to do now is remove the data cables and the power cables from this particular CD-ROM drive, because this is the drive that we've got a problem with. So we're going to go ahead and remove the power cable, and we're going to remove the IDE cable. We're just going to leave them setting here because they need to be here when we put the new device in. Then we just have to simply release the screw here that's holding this particular drive in place. And again, my nice handy dandy magnetic screwdriver, I gotta love that tool. And we just slide this guy out and let's go get our new device. Now we've got our new CD-ROM drive, and all we're going to do is pop it back in the same bay that the original one was in. We're going to line up the screw here and we're going to screw it down so that it's nice and secure. I want to make sure that we cinch that down so it's not going to be moving around. Then what we'll do is we'll connect back up the IDE data cable, and it's right here, so it's easy to put back on. And then we just have to go and find our power cable, which is right here. Pop that in, and at this point what you would do next would be to put the case back on, plug it into the wall, power up the computer, and then just test to make sure that the new CD-ROM drive works.